Hello, who we got on the line?
Hey, Brad, it's Cryptopolis.
Cryptopolis is in the house. My brother, how are you doing, Cryptopolis?
I'm fantastic, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing very well, especially now that you've called in. What do you want to tell everybody about what we're seeing here, Cryptopolis?
Well, Michael made an absolutely fantastic argument in one of those articles that doing negative interest rates is really trying to get consumers and businesses to spend money now in order to generate economic activity.
Right.
But it's sacrificing the future.
That's right.
So what they're going to do is they're going to try to borrow as low as possible or even at negative interest rates, but that does not mean that they're actually going to come out ahead of the game.
That's right.
They are simply trying to use this as another mechanism to stimulate the economy, just like they did with QE back in 2008 and 2009.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're basically looking to lock their money up for a premium loss, right?
Exactly.
Because they understand how bad it's going to get, right?
Yeah, and I think this is a kind of a culmination of the QE that was, really a theft of money and purchasing power, and to the consumer and to the citizens of the world.
That's right.
They are basically stealing our ability to generate wealth.
That's right.
And they're keeping it for themselves through all of these QE programs. And now it's coming back to them in a very, very nasty way, because they cannot continue to stimulate after all of the money printing that they did.
That's right.
And it's turning into negative rates. And these negative rates, some people have said, well, and they're looking at this as a way to protect their savings. So in other words, they're using it almost like, hey, at least, even if we get a negative rate on the funds that we invest, we put into the bank,
right?
I know a lot of corporates are thinking this way, is that at least we're going to get something back, because
right.
they know how bad things are going to get in a deflationary recession, and they're lucky to get anything back at all. And
right.
So at least, hey, they got to take a half a basis point haircut on that. It's better than losing 90% of the fiat that they're going to deposit.
Exactly. And just to understand negative interest rates for everybody, basically it means they're going to charge you fees on the front end and basically lose long term on the back end, correct?
That's correct.
So, it goes to show you what they see for a vision of the next several years, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oh, I said it just goes to show you what they see for a vision long term from the banker's point of view.
Oh, absolutely. They know this is coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why, and this is pure speculation on my part, but this
Sure.
is one of the reasons why Libra came out, and they're trying to push this thing with Facebook and this whole deal, because I think regulators, they're getting the signs, they're getting the message here that we got to do something quick. And really, I've been in this space just for a couple of years, but I can see the writing on the wall that the only real salvation for the economy, the central governments and central banks and everyone else, is to adopt cryptocurrency, and especially and exactly XRP.
Exactly.
I mean, I really don't see any way out of the terrible consequences that are going to come from negative interest rates.
I know. It's pretty scary, dude. It's pretty scary.
It is. And there's two types of recessions. There's an inflationary recession and there's a deflationary recession. And I did a poll on Twitter, and a lot of people thought it was going to be an inflationary recession that we're going into, because of the yield curves went negative, and that's a really reliable indicator of a recession coming. But a lot of people don't understand that there's differences in types of recessions.
Right.
Now, we've had had inflationary recessions in the 1970s when interest rates went up to like 17%.
Yes.
And, that was a time where even silver and gold went up. I mean, everything goes up in an inflationary recession. Prices go up, real estate goes up, gold, silver, interest rates, everything. This time, though, I think we're in store for a deflationary recession. And the clue that we're going to go into a deflationary recession is lower interest rates and negative interest rates that are trending throughout the world at this point.
And what do you see long-term impact because of that deflationary? So not just as in term in banks, and obviously they're hitting you with fees on the front end and locking up money and losing it long-term and in a percentage they're giving back really long-term. What else are you seeing there deflationary-wise?
Yeah, in a deflationary recession, which is just the opposite of an inflationary recession. So in an inflationary recession, everything goes up in price. In a deflationary recession, everything goes down in price. And the last deflationary recession we had was the Great Depression in 1929 through 32. Everything went down in price. You couldn't give things away.
Right.
Wages went down. That was the big one.
Right.
So wages go down. The price of goods and services go down. Everybody has to cut prices in order to compete with each other, and that's kind of like what we're seeing with the tariffs.
Race to the bottom.
Everybody wants. They got. The Chinese cut prices. Man, they have a manufacturing machine over there that reduces the cost of everything.
Yeah.
They're selling it in the United States, and in order for them to keep their competitive advantage, they have to continually deflate their currency.
Yeah.
Well, that's putting an awful lot of pressure on the U.S. dollar. It's going up.
Sure is.
And that makes our exports much more expensive. So in order to level the playing field, like everybody's been saying, everybody talks about level the playing field. Well, in my opinion, leveling the playing field means that we have a digital world currency.
Mm-hmm.
That levels the currency manipulation factor out of the economy so everybody can focus on exactly what we need to do in order to stabilize the country's economy.
I completely agree, Cryptopolis. I think that, this all has to start with putting some kind of neutral asset like XRP in between everyone's currency for trade. And then everybody can address, as you just said, getting their own house in order. Everybody's currency will become a national currency again, which it should be from the beginning anyway, right? I mean, that's why we have the Triffin dilemma with the U.S. dollar currently at hand, right?
Yep. And you have a lot of clarity on how that might actually work on a mechanics basis because, I could say, yeah, okay, the speculation on my part of the XRP might be the digital world currency, but I think your insights into Kava and what they're doing with the USDX is the key to this whole thing.
Well, thank you. And I think it is too. And, I just so happen to have that map I had the last time, and I'm going to put that up now for everybody to see. Guys, if you take a look at this, and I'm putting this up while we talk so they can see this. This is Kava Labs and the Fed coin. What theory, right, that I have, that the USDX stable coin that is issued from Kava Labs could possibly become the Fed coin itself. I mean, we have to keep in mind that, a lot of the central banks have already created a digital currency except for the Fed.
Yep.
This is incredible. True. This is incredible. And when people think about this, it seems to me that there is certainly something here. And I certainly believe that Kava Labs has to be nurtured and brought on. And, it's got to have liquidity brought into it. But, I mean, hey, who's to say that they couldn't come in? I mean, Ripple's talking to 50 governments. I think it's quite obvious now that the U.S. government's certainly one of them, or Susan Friedman wouldn't have left her job, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Ron Hammond, for that matter, right? So it's pretty simple to me. It's like it could easily be an interjection of capital, right, being XRP, where they take a chunk of their Nostro Vostro, pony up XRP to collateralize it. They're all issued a certain amount of Kava tokens, which would be governance tokens for the network, right? And then they're issued the stable coin, which might be the Fed coin. and then from there they can turn around and make loans with that. They can create new products with it again.
You know, I think you are spot on that. I just think that you have a really good point on all of that. I don't see XRP being directly, you know, I always see XRP as the back end settlement for everything.
That's right.
And so what you're saying makes perfect sense to me. Absolutely. I just want to make a couple of final points on on a deflationary recession.
Okay.
For a lot of people, and so I listened to DAI this morning, and he was talking about the Marshall Islands.
Oh, yeah.
Free currency. Yeah, very interesting stuff. And that actually was news that was kind of back a few months ago, and it's kind of been developing, and I think they're getting close to the point. But if you read the article that DAI showed on his video, really interesting is the fact that they understand that you can't print currency, fiat, forever and then have it not bite you back.
That's right.
And that they realize that a stable currency in the country is an important aspect to the economic growth of that country and the economic well-being of their citizens. And I think more and more countries are going to start to recognize that. And adoption is just going to be inevitable, I think.
I agree with you. And, you know, we all know Digital Asset Investor is amazing and a great guy.
Absolutely.
He's absolutely amazing. Shout out to DAI.
There's not a day that I have missed. I don't think I've missed a single one of his videos since I started watching him a year ago, more than a year and a half ago.
Absolutely. He's fantastic. Crushing this space. Killer insight, man. Killer insight. To his point, you know, I do remember Marshall Falk Islands talking about adopting a cryptocurrency because I think for up until now they used the U.S. dollar. Is that right, Cryptopolis?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if they've been using the U.S. dollar. A lot of countries do.
Yeah.
I mean, Cambodia has no currency. They use the U.S. dollar for everything. Although, you know, I mean,
right.
And there's lots of countries that do that because it is the most. You know, it is the reserve currency, and they can use it just about anywhere in the world, and they can trade with anybody in the world.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You know, for those that don't know, the Triffin dilemma with the U.S. dollar is mainly a pretty simple understanding of that is just that, you know, the dollar is used for the national economy, and it also is used for the global economy. And then there comes a dilemma when the right thing to do is not effective for the national economy, and it's effective for the global economy, or vice versa, which puts you in the Triffin dilemma for people that don't understand that. So that's the problem we're facing with the U.S. dollar now. And should they put the digital asset XRP as a neutral reference point in trade and other settlement assets, including international cross-border settlement, this could solve that problem, but there will still be a situation for the U.S. dollar and all those U.S. dollars coming back home. Wouldn't you think, Cryptopolis?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
What is your thought real quick before we wrap here? What is your thought real quick in that situation and setting that up? What is your thought about the possibility of the U.S. dollar getting propped up by gold temporarily? I know it's not a long-term solution because it didn't work the first time.
I'm sorry, being propped up by gold?
Yeah, like the U.S. dollar being put back under the gold standard temporarily because it being a national currency again.
Yeah, that's a really good question. You know, it didn't. You're right. It didn't work the first time.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just, you know, and then, you know, of course, the whole deal with you know, they confiscated all the gold. They couldn't allow U.S. citizens to hold gold, and that was a big disaster. I think it was a mistake on their part, and they pegged the price to was $20 an ounce or something like that. It was just it's an absolute mess. I don't think they're going to go back to that. I think it's probably in the cards that they're going to peg it to something, or they're going to, you know, they really have a dilemma because they've been printing so much of it. If they do peg it to something, they're going to have to buy an awful. If they peg it to gold again, they're going to have to buy an awful lot of freaking gold.
Yeah.
You know, to hold in Fort Knox. And I don't know if Fort Knox has gold in it anymore. I mean, who knows? You know,
yeah,
we don't really know.
Well, here's the thought that I had too, real quick, is that if in fact this Kava Labs and the governance network is ultimately to grow into the position that I've talked about on the show, I often wonder, because one of the things that's so funny to me is that, you know, the way that's positioned, the way it's designed, like you said, that it's, you can see through the design of Kava Labs how coveted the asset XRP is. Matter of fact, the USDX token could fail if it wanted to and not be the Fed coin, and third generation stable coin from that could be the Fed coin, right? It's like the way the system is designed is to protect the asset XRP and build products off of it, like the stable coin USDX, is it not? So
that's right.
One of the things I thought was, if they were to do an immediate interjection of capital, of 50 governments around the world or more were to pony up XRP, get Kava tokens, and instantly, you know, inject this thing, which I don't think they would do. I think they would build it slowly and get liquidity from retail, institutional investors, right, and the like, and let it build and fill the pool. And I do think that would happen. But just in tinfoil hat, you know, speculation, I thought, you know, it'd be funny if they all came in and just, you know, basically filled up the network, and then here you go. You could actually peg it at that point, the Fed coin, USDX stable coin, you could peg that to XRP, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point.
And then you could actually have people turn in their paper fiat and do a 2-3 to 1 ratio for the Fed coin.
Yes. Yes, they would. And you know what? If they, I don't know if you saw this post or not, but there was an article. I think it was an article that I was reading, and from the IMF. And one of the ways that they said that they're going to try to transition into a total 100% digital economy, and try to get people not to hide cash under their mattress. And one of the ways they were going to enforce that was to hold a lottery, and the lottery would pick out serial numbers of dollar bills and cash and fiat. And if you had a dollar bill with that number on it, it was worthless.
Whoa!
And so the only way that you could get your money was actually deposited into a financial institution, and then exactly the transition and the transfer that you're talking about into a Fed coin would be happen.
Wow. I'll tell you what I find so funny about this whole space and everything that we watch happen, and every time we get a little bit of that Oz behind the curtain moment, like yesterday with the two hires, it's funny that all the things that we're talking about here, some of it may be tinfoil hat, some of it's obviously great speculation, but we still can't take it off the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, when you start to dig into this stuff, you have to kind of question yourself if you're going insane. but it's just too obvious. It's just like, it gets to the point. And I said, and once in a while I have to walk away. And I say, I'll come back. Am I thinking about this clearly? Am I just going off on a tangent someplace? Am I looking at connecting dots that aren't really there? But, when you come back, you gotta say there's something to this, and I gotta tell you, this Hammond gentleman who came over, if he's the guy, if he's the architect, the drafter of the Token Taxonomy Act, he's not going to leave. I doubt that he's going to leave his position if that thing was not a done deal.
Is there anybody more of an expert than him? I mean, he wrote the damn law for the U.S. Congress, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no way those kind of guys that are driven and are ambitious, and he's drafting this thing, man, he is not leaving that position until that job is done. You got that right. So the only thing I can think of is when session goes back in, the session is back in session September 9th.
Right.
This thing is going to start to roll out, and we may not get a vote on it right away, but it's coming out of committee, and this thing is going to get passed.
You better believe it, buddy. Cryptopolis, it's so great to speak to you. Guys, this is what live streams are about. We have access to every one of you. It's not so you can hear me run my mouth and all of that business, right? Because that's just one small part of a live stream. If you want to know the benefit of why you want to give an hour to a live stream, it's because of this gentleman on the phone and the other 558 of you in this chat right now. Cryptopolis, thank you so much, my friend. We'll be in contact offline.
Oh, absolutely, Brad. Thank you for all you do, man. You are the best, and every chance I get, everybody I talk to, so man, you gotta tune in to Brad Kimes twice a day, watch his videos, watch the replays, because this is great stuff. As you know, I'm live a couple days with my audience, with my clients, a couple of days a week, and
let's plug that. Let's plug that real quick, brother.
Sorry, missed that.
Oh, tell them what you got. Plug that for the audience in case they want to go check it out.
Yeah. So, I'm alive with tradingology.com. It's a website that I was involved in for many, many years, and I still am. And Dan, who is the host of the live show, we do strictly for our clients. So these are clients that we have, and we go through trading, we go through the economy. Yesterday, I went on a rant about XRP, and I shouted you out because I highly recommend, if anybody's in this space, they got to listen to you. They got to listen to you. You're like, you are like, I don't know what it is. You're like the White House of the crypto space. I mean, you got to get there.
Oh, dude, I thank you, man. That means a lot to me. Cryptopolis, for people who don't know, has been developing algorithms for trading since you were in your 20s. Is that right?
Yep. The firm I own is Strong Market. It's strongmarket.com, and I've been developing algorithms probably since about 1992. I did my first stock trade in 1974, and I was only 16 years old at the time. I used my father's brokerage account to go buy some stock, and I doubled my money, and I was hooked ever since. I've been in the markets for 40 years.
Wow. I mean, I'm blown away, man. I mean, for you to say those things to me just means the world to me, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, your insight, and seeing all your tweets, because I know when you post something, it's going to be powerful. There's no question about it. We are definitely going to connect offline, Cryptopolis. We'll be talking soon, my friend. Take care.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.